Bangladesh at the moment is on the verge of civil war, and that is self-inflicted, not imposed from anybody else. And that is a tragedy that years down the line the Bangladeshi Muslims will wake up to realize. Second or the third most populous Muslim country in the world. 160 million people live in a small country. Very fertile. You can plant any seed of any nature and the plant would grow and the fruit would come. Any fruit you want, any vegetable you want, you can plant and it will grow. It's a delta region. All the fertile soil from the Himalayas, India and all other parts travel across the continent and land in Bangladesh. It used to be known historically as the Medina for the Muslims who would flee persecution from surrounding oppressive dictatorial regimes, Hindus, Buddhists or any other denomination. Today, Muslims are being persecuted in Bangladesh by Muslims, unfortunately. I don't take political sides in the Bangladeshi squabble. I'm not interested. Even though my parents come from that country, I take no interest in Bangladesh as a country. I take interest in any Muslim country, any Muslim nation, anywhere in the world, any causes of justice and injustice I take. Not only do I take interest, I take active interest in pursuing a fair and just way out of that particular misery. What I see in Bangladesh happening is the Turkification of Bangladesh. What Kamal Pasha, whatever Mustafa Kamal his name is, did to Turkey is what Bangladeshi government and the secular fundamentalists in Bangladesh are trying to do. Obliterate Islam and its culture and its heritage from every institution, public or private, from Bangladesh. A premeditated move made by secular fundamentalists, and they now occupy positions of power in every corner of Bangladesh. It is a tragedy that you don't hear about, not especially from the media that we listen to. What's going on in Bangladesh, you may be wondering. Many years ago, in 1971, Pakistan attacked Bangladesh brutally. Pakistan is in this room. Forgive me for using such powerful terms. They slaughtered millions, raped and caused pillage. I'm talking about the military in 1971. Pakistan and Bangladesh were together. They were separated from India and they were created as Pakistan. Pakistan, a pure place. A place where faith and purity will proliferate. A place where people will find sanctuary. A place where Islam would flourish. A place where the world would see a beacon and example of what Islam could be if a Muslim nation was to be born out of the ashes of the civil war that we saw engulfing India. Pakistan, unfortunately, oppressed Bangladesh in a miserable way. Bangladeshis decided that they need independence. An independence war ensued, and what happened after that was bloodbath in Bangladesh. Orchestrated by our fellow Muslim brothers from Pakistan. That history Bangladeshis have never forgotten. They've never forgotten. The whole nationalistic fervor of Bangladesh was built and based around Pakistan and those who collaborated with Pakistani Army in order to cause the death and destructions of millions of people. Brothers and sisters, 1971 went. 41 years later, current government has chosen to arrest arbitrarily, at whim, any individual they think, without evidence, without a due process, who maybe politically as an opponent to the current government, accuse them of war criminals or war crimes and lock them up, including prominent scholars in Bangladesh. Prominent scholars. Unfortunately, Bangladeshi masses are as confused as you can imagine. 160 million, 90% of them probably don't know much about Islam. A tragedy. So they don't know much about Islam, and they don't know much about secularism. What unites them is their nationalistic fervor of wanting to be Bengali. Again, an un-Islamic concept to be so nationalistic. But if these people were knowledgeable, they would not be behaving in this way. 2 days after I left, in Dhaka city, the capital city, millions of people have gathered apparently, all wanting and calling for hanging of the 4 people or 5 people who have been put behind bars, and their trials are undergoing right now. They're going through the trial right now. 1 or 2 of them have already received their verdicts. As young as 6-year-old kids, as old as 60, 70-year-old people apparently are coming out into the street saying, we want to see those people hanged. What kind of civilization is this? The people are so bloodthirsty that they want to see people hanged. Without due process, without solid evidence against these people. 41 years have gone. In Bangladesh, when I was there, somebody beat up a gentleman wearing beard. 2 occasions it happened in 2 places. After the security services beat the life out of these 2 people, they discovered that these 2 people who were beating almost lifeless were actually Hindus. Had nothing to do with Islam. And they were beating them because they had a beard. And if you have a beard in Bangladesh, you're associated with Jamaat Islami, the political party which apparently represents Islam. And if you are a representative of that party, you are guilty of 1971's crime. Whether you were born in 1982, it doesn't matter, you are. And you should be shot dead if you're seen on the street anytime, said the police commissioner of Dhaka city. He said this openly. If I see a member of Jamaat Islami or Shibir on the street, I'll shoot them dead. Talk about due process. I don't support any political party when it comes to these issues. This is what Mustafa Kemal did in Turkey in order to obliterate Islam from the facets of people. This is what successive dictators in Egypt have done. This is what the Middle Eastern dictators have done for years in Tunisia, and they continue doing in Syria and other parts of the world. The difference is, the secularists in Bangladesh don't know anything about Islam. Secularists in the Middle East know something about Islam. I was present in a conference where the infamous writer Taslima Nasreen, as you probably know from Bangladesh, was the keynote speaker, and the conference was in Tunisia. And they invited a secular fundamentalist writer from the Arab world also to be a keynote speaker. He doesn't like Muslims very much. He doesn't like Islamic parties. He has strong fervor against Islam. He is secular Muslims, and he is a critique of Islam 24 hours a day. When Taslima Nasreen spoke, in the middle of a speech, this Arab gentleman stood up and said, ladies and gentlemen, I can't take this anymore. This lady is a kafir. The difference is, Taslima Nasreen does not know anything about Islam. Zero. But she wants to be the critique of Islam. The Arab secularist, he knows a little bit about Islam. And when somebody goes over that particular red line that he holds close to his heart, he would protest. And that's the tragedy of Bangladesh. Majority of Bangladeshis don't know much about Islam. They don't know much about Islam because they've been deprived of the opportunity of learning about Islam. Bangladesh will see one of the two happening in the next few weeks and months. A civil war that will engulf the country, killing, destruction, death, unnecessary. Or international communities, Muslim communities would put enough pressure to put sense in the heads of these governments. A tragedy that can be averted easily. You cannot silence Islam by behaving in this way. You cannot silence Islam forever. Never. You can never silence Islam. Jamaat Islami may have taken a bad political move in 1971, which they did. They opposed independence. Terrible move as far as I'm concerned. But people who were born in 1982, 83, 84, they were not even alive in 71 to be indicted and put behind bars because of political charges. Wallahi, Bangladesh is on the brink of destruction at the moment. That's why I began my khutbah today by saying I'm going to talk controversially for Bangladeshis. This may be too much to take. Allah says in the Quran, Allah will not change the condition of those people who do not change what is within them. One of the bloggers who's organizing the current uprising or current rally in the capital city, supported by the government, one of the bloggers, actually those bloggers who have been responsible through Facebook in bringing people together, wrote in his own blog that I've read with my own eyes, if Allah comes down, we will want to hang Allah too. You want to know the true faces of those people who are currently organizing the so-called revolution in Bangladesh? They are not only an atheist in their nature, but they are secular fundamentalists in every way possible. They hate Islam, and if they could have it their way, they will destroy every facet of Islam from Bangladesh. Bangladeshis, wake up! Muslims, wake up! You cannot allow this barbarity to continue in Bangladesh, all in the name of 1971. Yes, a crime was committed, but these people are not the criminals. Politically charged, trumped up charges will not stand. You may hang them today, but from their ashes, from their blood and from their hanging, millions will rise to defend their honor tomorrow. Those people who are leading the so-called revolution in Bangladesh today, they're characterless, godless, moralless, ethicless, worse than animals in my view in the way they talk and in the way they behave. You just have to go and read what they write on a regular basis. They're the leading lights of the current revolution. I'm not asking you to support a political party. I'm asking you to support Islam. يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُطْفِئُ نُورَ اللَّهِ بِأَفْوَاهِهِمْ. They wish to obliterate the light of Allah by blowing onto it. They wish to blow onto the light of Allah and obliterate it. They can't. They will never be able to. We can have a dialogue with the secular people in this country, no problem. We can have a discussion with the secular communities around Europe, no problem. But with Bangladeshi secularists, I'm sorry, they're nothing but fundamentalist in every nature, extremist in every nature. There is no discussion with such a people. They don't understand the discussion. They don't understand dialogue. So here is what I'm suggesting we do as a community. We do not allow Bangladesh to slip into its dark days. We don't allow Bangladesh to go down and become engulfed in a civil war. You can do something about it. You can take an active step. Go on to Google tonight and find out all the relevant people that you need to write to. The embassy, the ambassador, Bangladesh's various governments. Put pressure. If 3 million Muslims from Britain were to write to Bangladeshi government today and tomorrow and over the next few weeks and few months, hopefully they will heed. Especially Muslims of different nationality and background. You know what they said to me when I spoke against it? You must be a member of Jamaat Islami too. Really? And somebody else said, I must be a collaborator of 1971. And I laughed. I said, I was born in 1971, 19th of October. If you think I was collaborating with the Pakistani Army in my nappies, well, good luck in your thinking. Such have become the twisted minds of those people who are infected by this nationalistic fervor that is sweeping Bangladesh. Nationalism has no space in Islam. I want you to mark this. Nationalism has no room or an inch of space in Islam whatsoever. Nationalism is haram. Full stop. We are what? Muslims. No matter where we come from. Arab, Pakistani, Bangladeshi, Indian, African. We are the citizens of the world. The creations of Allah. We are together as one ummah. There is no nationalism in our vocabulary and in our culture. The Arabs have failed for years when they were trying to unite behind Nasser with the Arab nationalism. Bangladeshis are proving that they can't. Turkey has failed miserably in keeping its country afloat when nationalistic fervor was dominating the country. I said to the Turks when I was there that without Islam, you're like fish out of water. You embrace Islam, you will lead the world. And they are currently, economically and politically, providing a leadership to the world that no other Muslim nation can, because they are coming back to Islam. The same applies to Bangladesh. Same applies to Pakistan. Same applies to every nation across the globe. You are a Muslim, come back to Islam. For without Islam, you are a fish out of water. I know you think I'm angry. I am very upset. Deeply traumatized for what I see today. But this is not the destiny of Bangladeshis. For certainly they haven't chosen it. It's been imposed on them by the secular fundamentalists. And something has to be done to stop it. Brothers and sisters, unite together, understand the message of Islam truly, the universal message of Islam based on knowledge, conviction, certainty, and our deep relationship with Allah. Based on spirituality, fairness and justice. Nothing else. Every country needs it. And most populous country in the world, second most populous Muslim nation in the world, needs it more than any other nation. So don't stay silent. Do something about it. For if you are silent, and those people are hanged unlawfully and unjustly on the Day of Judgment, the whole Ummah will stand on trial in front of Allah Azza wa Jal for not doing enough to stop that from happening. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله الغفور الرحيم.